Picture this. Your name is Lisa, you're a single mother of two, and in order to provide for your family, you had to drop out of college and start working at a restaurant. You work hard for the tip that you earn, but your customers often neglect to tip you or don't tip you enough, leaving you with barely enough money to get food for your family and gas to get home. I've been a food server for 3 years now. 1 year, I worked at a dinner show and worked for an hourly wage and for tips, and 2 of those years, I've worked in a restaurant earning only tips. Most, if not all of you, have had an encounter with a food service worker in your lifetime who relies on the money that you give them to survive. It is important to know the impact of your tip or lack thereof and how that impacts that server and their family's lives. Today, I'll be talking about one of the many reasons why meal prices in restaurants should be raised so servers can be paid a minimum or hourly wage instead of having to rely on tips from customers, as well as the impact that this change can make. Servers who work for tips have been paid around the same hourly wage for close to 30 years now. The Economic Policy Institute, a nonprofit think tank economic research center, said in a recent article, remarkably, the federal tip minimum wage has been stuck at $2.13 an hour since 1991. Over time, inflation has lowered the purchasing power of people's money. And with the constant wavering of purchasing power, servers are often left with barely enough to get by. If this problem doesn't get taken care of, servers will continue to make roughly 1/4 what regular minimum wage servers make, or minimum wage workers make. Servers today are forced to rely on other people's kindness and understanding, which there isn't a lot of. One of the best, easiest, and most effective ways to make this change is to raise the prices of meals in restaurants to allow companies to pay their employees a full wage. The New York Eater, a reputable food service magazine located in New York, said in a recent article about raising food service minimum wage, other restaurants are cutting hours and staffers, raising menu prices, and otherwise nixing costs wherever they can. 7 out of 50 states have made this change so far, including New York. Making this change would ensure that servers get paid some monetary value. This change would not affect consumers as much as you think. Making this change would just force consumers to tip their servers properly. For example, say you go to a restaurant, you and one other person go to a restaurant, and you each get 2 $10 meals, and then you tip about $3 or $4. Your total price before tax would be about $23 or $24. And if we raise the prices of meals, that same $10 meal would now be $12 each, making your total $24 before tax, which is roughly the same as if you'd have tipped them. And this just ensures that the server for every table gets paid something. And this change is going to impact the families of servers themselves, consumers, and the companies that those servers work for. Allowing servers to work for minimum wage will lower the risk of them reaching the federal poverty line. Themis Research Journal and Justice Studies of Forensic Science, Volume 5, Article 6 said that tipped workers are more than twice as likely as other workers to fall under the federal poverty line. That same journal entry continued later with the economic growth of the 7 states that are paying their workers full minimum wage have done well so far. These tipped workers are doing much better in these states as well. They are 25% less likely to fall under the poverty line nationally when they are paid a full wage. The national poverty line for a family of 3 is an annual income of $21,720 or lower, according to the Office of the Assistant Secretary for Planning and Evaluation. And the average annual income for food servers currently making $2.13 an hour is $20,370, which is a little over $1,000 annually. Bringing the server minimum wage up will make them less likely to fall under the national poverty line and help them become better members of their community by being able to support local businesses and support bigger corporations. Today, I've talked about the why, the how, and the impact allowing servers to make a minimum or hourly wage instead of $2.13 an hour can make. Allowing servers to continue to work for $2 an hour is doing way more harm than good. Serving food is an extremely hard job, and servers often don't see the profits from their hard work. By raising the minimum wage for food servers, people like Lisa will be able to provide a more secure lifestyle and comfortable lifestyle for her family and herself. For the overall health and well-being of food servers and their families, we need to take a stand and strive for equal pay among food servers.